So, did you just come back from New Orleans?
I did. Just got back yesterday. We had a fantastic trip. We're raising money for the cancer support community and for World War II veterans,
Oh,
and
nice.
it was awesome. It was myself, Christian LeBlanc, Eric Braden, Catherine Kelly Lang, and Kimberlyn Brown.
Okay. And did you get to go into New Orleans and do fun stuff a little bit?
Oh yeah, I was
Oh,
I was in Ardenville and then New Orleans the last day, but I mean I had fun throughout. We were staying in this beautiful house out in the country, real
nice.
close to the bayou, and it was fantastic. It was the second time I've been to Louisiana, and I have been wanting to go back since the first time just because of the food.
Right, right. And Christian's from there, so he probably showed you some
Right.
fun places, right?
He showed us all the fun places. He's
Oh,
a
cool.
walking encyclopedia when you're there with
I
him.
bet. That's great. That's great. So, congratulations on being nominated again for an Emmy.
Thank you so much.
How does
Appreciate
it feel?
Oh gosh, it feels it's an honor. It's an honor. It feels like the very first time, and that never gets old. And like I always say, that just any kind of nomination or recognition when it comes to awards and Emmys, it just means that the people that I admire and respect so much in this medium, who understand what it takes to do what we do, think that I'm doing a decent job, and it means the world to me.
That's great. Now I know a lot of the fans love you. I was reading a lot of message boards. So even when they don't like what Devon is doing or how he's acting, they always say, "Oh, he's such a great actor. I love him so much." So,
That's all I hope for. That's all I hope for. Whether they like me or hate me, as long as they believe what I'm doing, that's all that
that's right.
matters.
And do you display your Emmys at home?
I have them. They're up in my bedroom, just on my dresser for the first. I mean, for a long time, my first Emmy was with my mom.
Uh,
She had it for years and years, and then I ended up back with it when she was moving. Um, so yeah, no, I don't put them out and about, but they're upstairs for me to see.
okay. Well, if you get another one, you should get a display case or something.
I might. I just, or I might give this latest one. I'll give this one back to my mom so she could have it in her new place. I've been telling Christian and Peter Bergman, the ones who have three, that they got to get four so they can make a table.
That's right. There you go. That's right. An Emmy table. That would be
A
funny.
nice little Emmy coffee table.
So I've been watching the show a long time. In fact, I started watching it in 1986, the year you were born.
Oh wow. Wow.
I'm old.
I would never have guessed that you went back that far with us.
Yeah, I know. I was in my last year of college and I had been watching all the ABC soaps because they didn't have, VCRs too much back then. And the student center had all the colleges had a little student union or student center where there was a TV that was usually turned to the soaps during the day. And
Yeah.
ours was always turned to ABC soaps. But then my last year I transferred and they showed Young and the Restless before All My Children. So I started on that. So
So you got hooked on the good one. That's
oh,
great.
they get hooked. They get you hooked. I'm very easily hooked. So I
It's awesome.
remember when you came on the show, you always were. That's what I was saying earlier about watching the old clips. You were always such a great actor, even when you were young. You
Oh,
could
well,
you could
thank
see
you.
it in your first episodes. You had such great dramatic material, and I can see why they still keep bringing you back.
I
So,
appreciate that very much.
who were your greatest influences? Would you say acting?
Oh gosh, I mean, overall, some of my favorite actors are like I used to recite the scenes from like The Shining because I was such a fan of Jack Nicholson and guys like Robert Downey Jr. And but I mean, when I got on Young and the Restless was the first time I consider that my first acting job because even
Mhm.
though I had done Family Matters,
Sure.
it was only a couple of lines here and there, and it was all about timing and stuff
Right.
like that. I didn't really understand what it meant to get better. And then when I got to YNR, I mean, I was immediately surrounded by, the masters in this medium. And in particular, yeah, my storyline was, a foster care storyline, which has, enormous weight
Yes.
and seriousness. And so immediately Victoria Rowell and Christoph St. John and even, Crystal, even though she had only been on for a couple of years at the time, I saw no difference in the levels, between her
Right.
and the rest. And, I felt right away this need to get better. fast when I got to YNR. Yeah, mostly I'd say, Victoria Rao in particular, just because um, the majority of the storylines that Devon went through in the first couple of years were real stories that happened to Victoria, real things that she
Right.
actually experienced in her life.
Hopefully
So
not the lion attacking her.
not the lion, not the lion. No, that took a step into fantasy a bit, but yeah, no, no. But no, she was there to, she mentored me a lot about how Devon and would be feeling going through a lot
That's
of the
great.
things that I went through. Um, and then to have Christoph also to admire and look at as my other father figure there.
Mhm.
They were my two biggest ones for sure.
That's great. No, I interviewed Christoph over the phone in 2015, and uh,
Really?
he was the nicest, one of the nicest people I ever talked to. And he was out running errands and taking his dog to the vet, but he still had total concentration talking to me.
Oh
And
yeah.
he's one of the few back then, they were all phone for me back then, that gave me his number. He's called with his own cell and said,
Mhm.
call me if you need any follow-up. No one does that. They're like,
Oh,
they have like practically no one does it. They do it publicist, and I have to call into a number
sure.
or something like that. So that just blew me away.
Oh, well, hey, I'll give you my number so you can have any follow-up you want to.
No, it was just so amazing to me.
But he is, I mean, that sounds like him.
Yeah,
He was absolutely one of, oops,
yeah.
sorry, we cut out for just a second,
Oh, okay. Yeah, he was
but we're
great.
back with it.
And I had watched him before Young and the Restless on Generations when he
Yeah.
starred in that as a young guy, Adam. And so I loved seeing him as an even better character on Young and the Restless, because Adam was kind of boring. He was like always the nice kid and everything, but Neil had all these layers. And so,
Oh yeah. It was really crazy too when they had Telma Hopkins, who played
mhm.
my mother on Family Matters, come on and do a few episodes of YNR. She was telling me about how in that studio, and in particular, I believe it was on stage 33, which is right across from where we film, was the first sound stage she ever worked
Hmm.
on a television show. And they had this variety show that they
Oh,
did with Tony Orlando and Dawn.
yeah, I
And
watched that. I was in,
she
I love
showed
that show.
me she showed me an episode and a scene that she did with Christoph when he was, I think, 11 or 12 years old.
That's cool. That's really
And
cool.
yeah, so to get to see that it's such a small world. It's
Yeah,
just
well,
wow.
especially Hollywood, I guess.
Oh yeah.
And actually, the one of the things I really loved about when Drusilla came on, she was like a real person. She'd been a street kid and all that. And
Yeah.
I was a foster kid, so I really
Sure.
loved her story and yours, and enjoyed it a lot. And I'm
Oh
always
wow.
grateful for the charity work that you both do for kids and foster kids. So thank you.
Absolutely. I thank you. I thank you for those kind words, and I thank the show also for
Yeah.
taking that that leap into doing the storyline. I actually had also learned that Victoria Rao had approached Bill Bell about doing a foster care storyline in the mid '90s, and they weren't quite ready for it yet, which I'm thankful that they weren't, because I think there would have probably been a different Devon. So,
That's funny. So you've had a lot of stories over the years. Which were your favorites? Do you have any favorites?
and I apologize for the noise. I'm having construction
Oh,
done
I
inside, and
can't
now I
hear.
hear stuff out here. Okay, good. My favorite storyline over the years, I think, would have to be my losing my hearing.
Hmm.
Just because to have to portray losing a sense, you really can't understand what that's like unless you go through it. So you really just you do as much studying as you can and homework and try to do the best job that you can do. But really, just because of the challenge of it. And then one of my best experiences with a fan was I was out having lunch one day, and they came by and left a note on the table. They were written on a napkin and didn't say anything. They just left it and walked away. And it was someone who also was deaf, and they told me how they had lost their hearing very early on in life, and they'd always watched Young and the Restless, and just commended me on the job that I was doing and portraying that, and it meant the world to
Wow,
me.
that's
So,
great. Yeah, I have a friend a few years back. I don't remember exactly how many years. She got meningitis from a cat scratch. She has a bunch of cats,
oh
and
wow,
she lost part of her hearing. She's
wow,
she didn't lose the whole, all of it, but a little,
yeah.
just like 1 year or something.
Did she ever get any kind of hearing aids or
No, I don't think
the
she does.
implants or anything
No,
like
it's
that?
it's not enough to really make a huge difference in her life, but she almost
Sure.
died, so it was pretty serious at the time. Yeah, so that's a lot more common than you think. Yeah, you know the old song "Cat Scratch Fever." It's a real thing,
It's a
apparently.
real thing. Jeez.
Yeah. So, yeah, about the deaf story,
Yeah,
you were a singer. You're a singer and a musician. You played guitar since you were young.
a
Uh,
little bit.
but and I seem to recall that Devon was interested in doing that, and then he was deaf.
Mhm.
That didn't disappoint you that you didn't get to do singing and musical things on the show after that?
No, not at all, because actually the only reason that they started incorporating music into Devon's story was because they found out that I did music in real life.
Mhm.
And I never really wanted to do music. I like to incorporate music into Devon
Oh,
on the
okay.
show. I love the idea of him, wanting to be a producer and being behind the scenes. But as far as me singing or anything like that, no, no. So
Well,
I didn't mind at all.
you could have been the next Danny Romalotti.
Nah, nah, I'll leave that to the professionals.
Oh, I saw some of I saw your video. It was really good. A couple of your videos.
Oh,
I,
thank you. That was another lifetime ago. So maybe if I kept up the practicing, I'd be more confident. But
right. Yeah, it does. You do have to keep practice.
yeah, you do.
What can you tell us about what's in store for Devon coming up? I saw yesterday's episode where he didn't like that Billy sent the flowers and he popped the balloon. That was really good.
Yeah, there's gonna definitely be some more escalation to the tension between Devon and Billy, and just the whole working dynamic between Chancellor Winters, that I think is gonna lead to a big shakeup in the company. Um, I honestly don't even know where that storyline is going to go. I know what I hope for in Devon's future is to let him kind of be settled for a good amount of time with his love life, and I want to walk down the aisle with Abby and really take on the challenges uh, together, take on challenges together as a couple, and be the kind of one couple in love that you can look at and say, oh, they don't do bad things to each other, and you know, they stay together. I said
Yeah,
in another
that's great.
interview, and,
Yeah.
and fans got on me about comparing us to Michael and Lauren, but I was saying that I want to eventually be the Michael and Lauren. I want Abby and Devon to be them, because for
Right.
such a long time, you couldn't break those two up. They
Yeah,
didn't cheat on each other. They didn't do any.
that's
And
true.
so
Yeah.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see Abby and Devon's their romantic life grow.
Yeah, I don't want to be touched on a touchy subject here, but when they paired a long time ago, they paired Neil and Victoria briefly,
Yeah.
and then I
Yeah.
guess fans in the South or something got upset about it, and so they dropped it, just like changed it completely.
Oh, is that
And
what happened?
yeah, that's what I read. I remember at the
Yeah.
time that it seemed like they just dropped it abruptly. So it's such a different world today, and of course for the better. And
Yeah, of
I
course.
doubt you get any hate mail for Devon.
No, I mean, if I do, I haven't seen it, but
Yeah,
even if there is,
so who
you
cares, right?
can't cater to that kind of thinking. You got to tell stories that evolve us, and
Especially in today's world when there's so much
of
hatred
course,
out there and things are so
of
dicey.
course.
And if you could bring back any character to the show, who would you bring? You can say more than one if you don't want to upset anyone.
Oh, sure. I would. I mean, I've always wanted Victoria Rao to come back. I've always, to see to what happened to Drew. We never found her body, so there's
Right?
always, and even if you have found a body, there's always an opening in soap operas to come back.
Sure.
But no, I'd love to share the stage with Victoria again, and also Daniel Goddard. He
Mm.
was just such a great friend to me, and um, always had so much fun on set, and I know the fans love them too. I'd love to
Yeah,
see those two characters one day.
that would be great. I agree. And the actress, I can't remember her name. Is it starts with an L? She played your sister and sang on the show.
Oh, Lauren, yeah,
Yeah, she's
absolutely. My
great.
gosh, Lauren Lott. I want her to have her own show. That's what I want. That girl is so insanely talented.
Isn't she? She's so
Um,
amazing. I interviewed her once for a potential Star Trek show that never came about, but we talked a lot
really,
about Young and the Restless and some other things. She's just amazing.
isn't she fantastic? She's just one of the best people I've ever met.
Yeah, she's really nice. She's got a beautiful voice. Oh my gosh.
Incredible voice.
So, let's see. Nowadays, Devon is mostly involved in the corporate world. Are you content with that? Or would you like it if he did something completely different? Like I remember when Neil, just quit and went and opened a club. He did a lot of things like that. Devon needs
Absolutely.
to have something like that.
I
Shake.
agree. I agree completely. We can bring back Indigo. No, yeah, that's for me, I'm always content with it. If they're giving me storyline, regardless of what it is. If I'm working, I'm content and I love to be working. But I think any actor always wants to be challenged. So I would love to do something that's completely out of the box, something that, fans wouldn't expect. And yeah, something that,
I'm the next Victor Newman.
hey, we all want that.
You
There's
become
only one. There's only one Victor Newman, but
that's
we
right.
all aspire
But he
to
could, or he could have an evil twin. You know,
pass. I don't. No more twins.
no more twins.
No more twins.
Yeah, that was a little weird with Hillary and
Hillary and Amanda. Yeah.
Amanda. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, who else would you like to work on the show that you haven't worked with very much?
Man, just about everybody. I mean, I know Josh Morrow, Nick and Devon are, they're friends on canvas, and we shared a couple storylines together a few years ago, but hasn't been much lately. I'd love to see, more of their friendship. Um, you don't really see Devon and his friends, you kind
No.
of just see who he works with and his love life, and that's it. I've always loved working with and wanted to work more with Amelia. They gave us a couple of scenes years ago, in the office and business dynamic that but that was it. And we always have so much fun off camera. I know it'd be a blast to work on camera. Same with Josh. So
Right. I think it would be great, especially since let's see, I'm trying to remember the relationship. Abby
oh,
is,
but they're sisters.
yeah, they're sisters. I
That's my
thought so.
future sister-in-law.
Yeah, so you think they
Yeah.
would interact, the Winters and the Newmans would interact a little bit more.
Well, they're in the family now. Dominic is a Newman
Yeah,
slash Hector
so
slash every other family.
right. So uh one more question. Tell me about your app. I assume it's pronounced Disco. Dick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Disco's yeah, it's an app that allows people to discover information and commonalities about the people around them in real time, and be able to engage without having to physically approach. So, for instance, like if you walk into a party, or you go to any social setting, I realized a long time ago the only option that two people have, or that any stranger has, to get to know someone else, is to have to walk up to them and shake their hand and introduce themselves and start
Right.
a conversation. And if you don't have the time to do that, the ability, the confidence, I wanted to try to figure out how to use technology to create a new bridge between strangers. And
And you and Daniel Goddard came up with this idea?
yeah, yeah, was the idea spawned from me. I went to Daniel and got him on board, and he became my business partner, and we've been developing it, and we're in the process of getting it built. We self-funded the build of a beta version that we tested over a few years, and yeah, it's
Well,
something
that's
to
cool.
hoping people can expect in the near
So
future.
you don't have social anxiety though.
I no, I
I didn't
don't.
think so.
I
I
don't
didn't
have
think
it.
so. You're
But
pretty outgoing.
but it's funny because I was taught from a very young age and kind of coached on how to interact with people who would come up to me. When I was starting on Family Matters, I was 3.5 years old, and
Right.
people started coming up to me, introducing themselves, asking for autographs and asking me questions, and I didn't know at first even how they knew me or what that was about until I learned what I did.
Right.
Um, and then and so, I was lucky enough, and not everybody is lucky enough to have that kind of from an early age, training on how to not, to be confident. But also I kind of had this realization that the people who come up to me, or when I see them come up to other castmates, they have this confidence when they feel like they know you, because they
Mhm.
do,
Sure.
in a sense. Like we're in their
Yeah,
living rooms every day, so they
exactly.
you know, and when you have a bit of information about someone, you share a commonality with somebody, it gives them that extra spark, an extra bit of confidence to make a connection. And I just wanted to be able to create that for anybody.
So you say it's safe. How is it safe when you're basically you're meeting strangers and getting their information? How do you know that the person is giving you honest information and that they're not trying to, I don't know, scam you or something?
For sure. Well, like any app, we'll have a verification process. We'll have anti-catfishing, features within the app, and run the gamut of safety, elements and features to make sure that who you're engaging with is who they say they are. And again,
Right.
it's up to at the end of the day, it's up to the individual to make sure that they're being responsible. And there'll be an age, requirement to use the app, and um, but yeah, we're gonna make sure that we incorporate everything possible to make sure that we keep people safe on it.
Okay, and you said that you have several universities that are what, investing in it, or what are they doing?
Yeah, we've have several who've committed to adopting the app once we have it built. The last one we got was actually University of Kentucky, to just agree to adopt and use it on campus for students who and faculty who may suffer from any form of social anxiety, um, and have any kind of difficulties with making in-person connections. We can all remember our first day of school, especially in college. You're on this campus, and you're everyone's new. Your goal is to make, you find your tribe and connections, and your friends, and it can be very intimidating.
Yeah.
Yes, the schools have come on board to adopt us as a tool for students to use.
Well, it sounds very useful. I wish it had been around when I was in college. Of course, we didn't have phones and apps and things.
Right, yeah.
It would
Didn't
have been
have quite a
difficult.
bit.
Well, thank you very much for talking to me. I really enjoyed it.
Of course. Thank you for taking the time to speak with
And
me.
I met Victoria when we were in Alabama. She'd written a book, one of her books, and
Uh-huh.
she
Yeah, yeah.
book tour, and so I watched her speak and got her autograph and
Uh,
everything.
That's
And
fantastic.
and I've interviewed her a few times after that, but so I
She's
always,
wonderful, right?
oh, she's just so much fun. She just like she's a total character, but in a good way. Like
Yeah.
she's a person, you know. You
I
know,
do. I do. She all the personality in the world, and that's why, fans gravitated to her character so much, because she brought that to Drusilla.
definitely. Oh, and when I did interview Christoph is because he did a series of movies with her for the Up Network where they
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
and we had talked mostly about that as well as Young and the Restless. So that was a lot of fun seeing them together again. And I agree with you. I wish they would bring her back, but I don't know. Somebody said somewhere I read yesterday, they could say she had been living somewhere else with amnesia.
Of
You know,
course.
they've done that
We
plenty of
found we
times.
found Malcolm, right? Malcolm was supposed to be off and dead, and yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that. All right.
Anything can happen.
That's right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.